Page 23, Old English Dance. On this lesson, they're introducing you to the idea of playing more than one note at the same time in the same hand. Do it a lot in piano because we can play a lot of notes at the same time. It happens a lot. You'll get it. No big deal. They give a study for the left hand at the top and they give a study for the right hand at the bottom of the page. That's good because you need to work both hands at the same time. Develop both hands. The only thing I care to mention about it is that the technique for playing two notes at the same time or more, two or more notes, is a little different than playing one note at a time. When I play one note at a time, let's just take whatever. I'm shifting weight from finger to finger, and I'm just kind of walking on the keyboard. You can't really see it too well in the camera, but it's happening. It doesn't take a big motion to shift weight from one finger to another. You're just rolling it over, and you're putting the weight on a different finger. But I'm not pushing down. I'm just relaxing and letting the weight push it down. Well, when you go to do two note or more notes at the same time, that doesn't work too well because now the weight is on two or more fingers at the same time. So when I do that, I say I'm going to do this, these two notes, I'm lowering those two fingers and the weight is going down on both notes. Let's just stick with that. So I can go from here to here. Actually, the good exercise for this is to go through all of them here. So I've got two notes at a time and I'm switching which finger it is. Well, on this one, I'm lifting up and going back down each time. Whereas with one finger at a time, I'm not lifting up, I'm just transferring weight from finger to finger. Here, I gotta lift up. There's a little silence between them. Now this is just the beginning of this. There's other techniques, we'll get into that. Okay, let's stick with me on this one. Same thing in the right hand. Yeah. All I'm doing is the weight's going on those fingers, and then these fingers, each time I'm just shifting the fingers so the weight goes on whatever fingers. And that's really all it is. So in Old English Dance, in the left hand, you have these half notes. We have a B and a D. And when you have multiple notes at the same time and you're not sure what they are, you do a technique called spell out the chord. It simply means you start with the bottom note given and you figure it out, and then you do the next note and the next one and the next one, and then you just keep doing it until you get every note in the chord. So here we have a B and a D together. That's what it is. And I'm just lowering these fingers are down and I'm lowering the weight down. I'm not pushing down with the fingers, I'm lowering the weight down. Let the wrist collapse a little bit. Don't stiffen up and play with a stiff wrist. Let the wrist collapse just a little. In second measure, it is an A and a D. Third measure, it's a G and a D. Then you have a C and a D. And they're a little awkward here in the C and the D. That's the last measure of the first line. They're a little off. That's because there isn't room to put them straight up and down. They would overlap. So they have to offset them just slightly. But they come on the same beat. So you play them at the same time. Or I could say they're touching, play them at the same time. But technically, it's the beat that tells you when to play them, and they're both on beat one, so you play them at the same time. And that's really what we're doing here in the left hand. So much for the left hand. Now, let's go through our routine for learning a new piece of music. This is 2 lines long. It has a repeat sign. Have we had repeat signs before? I don't recall. I can't remember what we've had now. It's been too long. I'll come back to the repeat sign. Treble and bass clef. We're in the key of C major, sort of. We're in the key of G major, but don't worry about it. Stick with my C major scale. Keep working on that. I have the video on it. Just keep working on the C major scale. is 2/4 times. So now there's only 2 counts in a measure, but we're still counting quarter notes. So they're the same as 2 quarter notes in every measure. And we have eighth notes, 1 and 2 and, 1 and 2 and. Let's go through the right hand. We're starting here, and we're not moving around, so you don't need any other finger numbers. Read the notes, not numbers. So it's 1 and 2 and, 1 and 2 and. That's really the rhythm throughout until you get to the last 2 measures. So the next to the last measure is 1 and. They're all eighth notes, 1 and 2 and. Okay. We've already done the left hand. So now let's put the hands together. You're here and you're here. So these are down and that's down. 1 and. Now here, 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 and here. Get the idea? You go through and put the hands together. I already did. Then go back through and get rid of the hesitations. So it is a steady beat throughout. 1 and 2 and, 1 and 2 and. Okay. Once you have that, then we think about the articulation. This is pretty connected. They have the slur. If you want to do that, lift up between each of these, that's fine. Nothing marked for the left hand. Connect them as best you can, even though you can't connect them. But just a very short silence. See, in the right hand, I'm connecting that. But in the left hand, I have to lift up. So I lift it up here, but not here. See what I'm doing? Yeah. Again, it's that independence of the hands, and we'll get there. So you're lifting up in each hand at a different time. Don't lift up in one hand just because you had to lift up in the other. No, please don't do that. And once you have that, then we think about the dynamics, which they don't give us any. Oh, goody. Well, it's up to you. Just play it somewhere in the middle. Not loud or soft, just in the middle. And that's the melody. We want to hear the melody. It's the right hand. These chords, keep them soft. So you're light in the left hand and a little heavier in the right hand. Just you're feeling a little off balance here because you're heavy. See? So I want to hear the melody. And once you have that, they don't give you speed. It's up to you on this. A dance means they're probably moving around pretty good. So you can imagine people dancing, and how would they dance? 1, 2, 1. I don't know how they would dance. I wasn't around back then. 2 is about fine with me, I guess. Then again, once you have all the mechanics out of the way, then let's think about the interpretation. We'll think about the natural accent. Here it's the first beat of the measure. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. 1. Feel that. 1, 2. Don't force it, just feel it. So on this is go to here. Feel that. Go to here. Go to here each time. Just feel it. Now let's get to that repeat sign that I've been avoiding. At the end of the second line, you see the thin and thick bar lines, but this time they have the dots. That means it is a repeat sign. And sometimes the repeat sign is at the end of a piece, like here. That's fine. So you don't get the end of a piece symbol per se, because the repeat sign covers it up. But it's still the end of the piece. But a repeat sign for now means go back to the beginning and play it all again. Repeat it all. And I'll adjust that rule a little later on. So what we're going to end up doing is playing this twice. It's 4 lines long instead of 2. That's all. And the beat is a steady beat. Even when you repeat, it's a steady beat. So it would be like that. way of playing it. You can play it your own way. It's on. Interpret it as you see fit. Just don't violate or contradict anything the music says. You got to do what the music says, but the music doesn't say everything. You can feel it. Let's play it together very slowly and check the notes and the rhythms. I'll give us 2 counts because there's only 2 beats in a measure. So I'm going to go ready, go, or ready and go and. That's 2 counts. Now let's try, and we are going to repeat it. Ready and go and. 1 and.